Hello and welcome to the Angelati studio. We are now joined by Marie Fossum, who's the head of utilities, business line and industry at Ericsson. And Marie, we're talking a little bit off air about the sort of transformation in the industry and where the two key areas are that you feel that transformation is taking place. Can you just expand a little bit about that side of things?
Well, I think you will see the changes happening a lot in the retail part of the industry, where they have to try to achieve some new customer experience. They have to keep the customers, they have to develop the customers in a totally different way than they have been used to. So that's one of the areas, and then the other area is distribution a lot, who will be the enabler of the new infrastructure and the new products and services that the retail company will then sell and offer to the customers.
And if we take each of those areas with the retail side of things, are there some examples that you can give us which would bring to light some of the new ways that retailers are now having to behave, which they never did before?
You can say, for example, that they are offering visualization services to consumers so that they can follow the consumption real time even. In some areas at least of the world where you have meter readings, where you have real-time meter values that you can then read your consumption in an easy way. And then some retailers are even stepping over to transportation, where they're offering charging services to electrical vehicles. And some other retailers are focusing on apps, trying to give the best customer experience that they can give you.
And within that world, I mean, within those retailers, what are some of the challenges that they're facing when they're going into this new thing? I mean,
I think it depends where you are in the world, but for someone it's fairly difficult to find the business case from a retailer perspective. But the thing is, if they don't do it, they will lose the customer base, so then their whole business will fall.
Right.
Non-dependent. So they have to do it, at least partially in some part of the world. Then there are some other regions where they actually can find new revenue streams from those new products and services. And there it of course easier, like in the States, for example. It's been a bit easier to open up this market.
And the new revenue streams look like selling other products and services?
Yeah, it can be energy efficiency services, it could be to offer, advices to customers, for example, or provide you with new products like the visualization service, and you can have a screen on your wall where you can see your consumption, or you can steer and control.
React to it and everything.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about the retail side of things. Crystallize the distribution side of things as well, a little bit as well. What's happening there?
Yeah, in most parts of the world, they are more the enabler of the infrastruccer. So for them, it's a lot about excellence in operation, having an efficient operation, try to do it with as less cost as possible if they can, so that they can maximize, of course, their business, have high availability, reliability
so
to the
here
customers.
We're talking about asset management,
asset management is one of the areas,
convergence, so that you can see what's going on the network.
Automation in the grid, for example, so that they can ensure less outages, for example.
And sometimes you hear the commentary around the distribution side of things, and it all seems to be about just asset management and that operational excellence and things like that. Are there some other things that you've seen in terms of where distribution companies are innovating even further than that? Because that's kind of 101. You want an efficient business.
Yeah, I would say that many distribution companies are taking a step further from an R&D perspective. So they are really investigating into smart grids, trying to explore that world, maybe even try to find a revenue stream outside the regulated world, because most of them are regulated. So definitely, for sure, we can see that they are trying to find some new areas.
What's driving them to look outside their regulated sphere? Is it because the regulation is so tight that the margins aren't there?
For some, I think it is. But for some others, it's also about raising competence, trying to find some new ways to increase availability and reliability for the future. And then the thing is that with all those new things like renewable energy that is totally, you know, changing the environment, you will have a two-way flow in the system instead of a one-way flow. Intermittent power will change everything for the distributors.
And do you think that that renewables part of it is the biggest driver on the distribution side? That
it actually started with that, at least.
Right.
When we started to talk about smart grid, it was all about integrating renewables. Now, lately, it's been more about trying to find and enable new products and services for the end users inside the households. Not so much about the efficiency of the grid. But I think from the society perspective, I would say that the efficiency in the grid is extremely important. And smart grid could also be microgrid. It could also be for areas where you don't have a grid today, where they can build up intelligent grids fairly quickly and have renewables on top of it, and then to serve the customers in a really good way, customers that don't have electricity today.
And to kind of bring all of that together, I mean, is it a bit naive to kind of look at retail and distribution as two separate parts of the coin?
Yeah.
You know, aren't they fundamentally linked at some
They are
point?
definitely fundamentally linked. Because if you don't have the enablement from the grid company, you will not be able to offer the services from the retail side either. So definitely need a cooperation between those two players within an area, otherwise it won't work.
And as we're coming to the end of our time here, it's like if you look at that join, do you think that that is almost optimal, and that some of the things that are going on where you're trying to unbundle, you know, retail from distribution and things like that, it may not be the right way to go?
I think it could be an okay way to have unbundling, because I believe, given that distributors are a monopoly, they need to be able to serve several or many retail companies. So I believe that is good. I don't necessarily think it's good with ownership unbundling, which is a totally different story, because I do see synergies between distributors and retailers from back-end systems, for example, that I think would be only beneficial for the society if they can have a joint cooperation and operation.
Gotcha. Right. Well, that's unfortunately all we've got time for. Thank you for taking time to be in the studio, and thank you as well for watching. And this has been another interview and Girardi at European Utility Week with Ericsson. I hope you enjoyed the interview.